Right, so today we are back judging more confessions, from the wild and spicy to the downright insane. And first up, we've got an insane one. There is someone living under my house and no one believes me. What the hell? So I'm an 18-year-old living in my parents' house. Unfortunately, I do not have a job and I'm home all the time for school. Okay, they're in school, that's fine. Up until 3 weeks ago, everything was fine until one night I was in bed awake at 3 a.m. Scariest time to be awake, by the way. Everything's quiet, no one's moving, except from the monsters and the men that live under your floorboards. Alright, so I was in bed awake at 3 a.m. due to my insomnia that often keeps me awake until the early morning. We have a fence that cuts off our back garden from the front pathway that leads to the main road, where often a lot of homeless people wander into our estate as it's close to the city centre and most buses lead to and from the city. I thought he was going to say homeless people wander into our garden and house then. I was like, bro, get a better fence. Right, during the night I heard our back gate shake. I know it wasn't wind because often if I forget my keys, I have to climb the fence to get back into the house, which makes a distinct noise as the fence shakes. That is creepy. I know completely that I'm not insane, though at this point, I'm not sure. To be fair, he is an insomniac. Like, if he's sleep deprived, that definitely can lead to delusions and visions. So whether any of this actually happens or he's just imagining it, I don't know either. Well, there's a small gap under where my decking connects to the house with a small hole that leads to a crawl space of sorts, big enough for someone to actually squeeze through. Right, and why have they not plugged this gap yet? It's kind of like locking your front and back door but leaving the garage door open. You're just asking for trouble. Also, it's kind of like a horror movie plot. Like, why is the hole perfectly big enough for a human to squeeze through it? Terrifying. Get it sorted. Well, at night, I continue to hear scratching and coughs that aren't from my parents or my cat, creaking and movement from somewhere in the house. Oh, this is reminding me of those stories you hear where, like, people find strangers in their house that have secretly been living there for years and they sort of only come out at night to eat or when everyone's at work and school. Kind of like Parasite, but real. I haven't slept well at all and I'm constantly terrified of even the thought of being alone here. I can't lie, second time that happens, I'm buying an indoor camera. Or I'm setting up some sort of booby trap to catch whatever it is. I mean, I feel like that would probably end up with my parents dangling upside down by the ankles because they've gone to get a glass of milk at night. But this is my post and I shall defend it. Anyway, my dad is insisting that I'm going crazy. I mean, to be fair, if the dad and mum aren't hearing anything themselves, I mean, maybe they're not awake because they're not insomniacs, but like, you'd think some of the coughing or scratching or creaking would wake one of them, or they'd just by chance be in a light phase of sleep, or even awake for just one of them, right? So I don't know what to believe. Anyway, along with my mother, and his mother's saying the exact same thing, leading to any sort of police intervention being impossible. To be fair, if the police aren't going to go straight on your word, just get an indoor camera or something like that. I'm sure you can get like tiny cheap crap ones off like TikTok Shop or Temu or something, because the second you have proof, then the police are going to come. My garden is large and barely covered by any windows, along with the crawl space connecting to some areas of ventilation. I'm not willing to go down there myself as I'm afraid of whoever or whatever is down there. That is an ominous finish. To be fair, what's the actual worst case scenario here? If it's a homeless person, they're probably just searching for shelter. If I was this worried about it, there's no way I'd be sat in bed. I'd be like, right, it's probably just a homeless person looking for shelter. I'm going to bring my phone camera and I'm going to record it for evidence, just so we can show the police and just be like, look, I might have to call you if there's an altercation or trespassing or something like that. And for now, we need to like fortify the fences and plug this bloody hole. And instead of just kicking them out, maybe even offering the homeless person a nice sandwich or a bed for the night, even if just at a local cheap hostel. Or it's going to be a crazy monster and you get the most epic boss battle ever, which is a rite of passage for every 18-year-old in case your parents haven't told you. I'd just call the cops when your parents aren't home. If nobody's there, no problem. If the cops find someone, then at least you can explain that you had a valid reason to call them and that you're not crazy. I just worry that he might be slightly crazy and it might become like a boy who cried wolf scenario. Like if he keeps calling the cops and they keep showing up and no one's there, then if someone actually does break into his backyard and crawl through that hole, they're just not going to believe him. Get a cheap Wi-Fi camera and set it up under a shrub or something. I believe you. There are many stories on the internet, news stories, of people in attics that don't belong there. This is so creepy. Why not a crawl space? Sometimes older people just don't have the hearing they used to. You may find that it's an animal, but it will give you peace of mind to get an answer. Yeah, this is the most obvious solution, surely. Wise cameras are cheap and would definitely work for this situation, but it will need a power source. You can definitely figure it out. If it's a person, you'll have proof. If it's an animal, you also have proof. Safety is important. Good luck. Yeah, whatever you do, investigate it. Please don't just keep lying there in bed, absolutely terrified. That is just a crazy way to continue. Ooh, before nightfall, sprinkle cheap baby powder all over the entire area. Go out and look as soon as the sun comes comes up. See what tracks you find. This spy movie shit is cool, it really is. And terrifying. I'm glad I don't have an attic or a garden now. Alright, next. I lied about having a food allergy and now it's gone too far. This reminds me of Batch telling the entire world that I look like I should have a peanut allergy, and that somehow has morphed into the whole internet, thinking I have got a peanut allergy. My face is just a little puffy when I wake up, and sometimes our podcast films in the morning. I'm not allergic to peanuts, guys. Alright, I don't even know why I did it. Years ago at a work lunch, I told everyone I was allergic to mushrooms because I didn't want to eat a dish that had them. It wasn't a big deal at first, just an easy way to avoid them without getting side-eyed. But somehow, over the years, the lie stuck. Now my co-workers, friends, and even my family go out of their way to avoid mushrooms for me. My boss once had an entire catered meal changed because she thought I'd have an anaphylactic reaction. Damn, finely chopped mushrooms are in so many foods as well. My partner checks restaurant menus in advance to make sure I have safe options. Why have you not told your partner the truth? Given this was at a work lunch, I can understand not wanting to tell your co-workers that you lied and it spiraled out of control. I mean, realistically, how often do you go out for work lunches and stuff like that anyway? In most jobs, it's pretty rare. But friends and family with whom you eat all the time, especially your partner that goes out to restaurants with you, surely that's just a funny story that you own up to and are like, I don't really know why I said this. Well, I kind of do, but it's blown massively out of proportion. And then everyone laughs about it and just moves on. Why are you keeping up this weird little lie to people that are so close to you? My own mother has started warning guests at family dinners about my allergy. You haven't even told your own mother. It's become such a deep part of my identity that I'm terrified of being found out. To be fair, that sounds like a skill issue. I think you need to work on your personality if like the main thing about you is that you're allergic to mushrooms. I can't suddenly just not be allergic anymore. Yeah, now I think you need a side mission that adds to your personality. You need to go like scuba diving with sharks, or bungee jumping with dinosaurs, or like snowboarding with Eastern European models. Just something where everyone at work and at home is just like, wait, what? What the hell? You were the guy that was like scared of flowers or something. Where the hell has this come from? And everyone would just completely forget because that massively overshadows it. Every time I think about coming clean, I imagine the disappointment, the eye rolls, the inevitable, so you've just been lying this whole time. That's why you need to give them something exciting that will get them out of their seats and just be like, no freaking way, tell me more about that. And they'll just forget about the boring mushroom stuff. Tell them that you tried ayahuasca, made love to a tree, and that's why you're no longer allergic to mushrooms. And the worst part, oh, it gets worse. I actually like mushrooms now. I eat them in secret when I'm alone. It's like I'm having an affair with a fungus. This is so funny. I wonder if this is like an acquired taste because I was the exact same. I hated mushrooms when I was a kid. If it was in anything, I'd be like, I'm not eating that. Whereas now, I secretly love it. I haven't quite gotten over the like weird slimy texture, but if it's like finely chopped up in like a bolognese or a risotto, I love it. I know I should just tell the truth, but how do you admit to a lie that's grown out of control? Of all the like cool, potential, impressive things you could have made up to make your entire personality, being allergic to a fungus is the absolute worst. It's so lame. Oh, you obviously use that excuse more than just at a work lunch for it to spread outside of work. Of course, that's why the whole friends and family and girlfriend believe it too. That's so funny. I mean, it spiraled out of control, but he really just kept digging himself a hole, didn't he? To be fair, some allergies you can actually grow out of, so I don't know, why not just make up a story that you're microdosing and then, you know, it becomes like a mild intolerance, or you're just completely fine with them after like a month. I'm sure no one's going to actually care about your mushroom allergy that much to really think about it and try and figure out if you've lied. Oh, smell my finger. Next up, we've got some spicy ones. At least I think that's what's going to happen. Let's find out. When I was younger, my friends and I would smoke cigarettes in the woods behind middle school. One day, our science teacher came out to his car and smelled the smoke, so he started to come towards us. Eventually, he found us, and one by one, he said, let me smell your fingers to see if we'd been smoking. Imagine if they'd been doing something else in that forest. A whole different kind of stank to the one he was expecting. And one by one, I watched my friends get busted, but not me. If I got in trouble one more time, I was screwed. My parents were super strict, so I did the one thing I knew would make my fingers smell like something other than cigarette smoke. I shoved them so far up my ass, I hit the male G-spot practically. What the hell? Bro, I really think you did not need to go that deep. Bro got out of trouble by basically nutting. That is crazy. I pulled them out just in time for him to not see me commit the act, and he grabbed my wrist and took a big sniff. He screamed, dear God, and told me to get myself checked. He gave the others detention. I was good though, he didn't smell the cigs. I mean, fair play, it worked. This reminds me of, I had a Scottish friend growing up, and his dad was just super scary. Definitely some sort of gangster, and he gave us a lift home from a party one night, and we got in the car, and he could smell that there was smoke on us because people were smoking at the party. It was one of those things that like 15, 16, some people do and they think it's cool, and yeah, they're probably doing it inside the house. And he grabbed my friend's hand, sniffed it, and went, If I ever catch you smoking, I'll chop your balls off. I apologize for the accent, but that's pretty much what it sounded like. But he was so big and so scary. It still kind of scares me to this day. Like, I've got mild goosebumps. And to this day, I've never smoked a cigarette. I don't think fear-induced prevention is the best parenting style, but sometimes it works. Oh no. One of my clients had an accident on my table during their session. What does this mean? This is just me yapping into the void because I still can't believe this happened. So I'm a massage therapist and I, a 28-year-old female, work on a military base. Whilst there are restrictions in place as to who books with me, I still get a bunch of interesting clients. You know, I always think this. I always wonder what the average clientele at a massage parlor is. Because I've had a massage a couple of times, usually with the boys, like after a bit of heavy sports or on like a super relaxing holiday. But I feel like that's not most of the clientele. I feel like you just would get a lot of people who want to get rubbed in all sorts of ways. Anyway, in order to book with me, you have to be able to 1, get on base, and 2, purchase things on base. Oh, military base. Weirdly, my brain went to like 1st, 2nd, and 3rd base. Sexualizing already. God damn it. Purchases are limited on base because they're tax-free. This is mostly limited to active duty members, veterans, and their dependents. Those with this access can also sponsor people on base and can purchase a massage with me for the people they sponsor. So I had a client booked in on Friday and arranged a massage for their sister that was visiting from out of town on the following Saturday. This story is about the Saturday Sister. I love how they've capitalized it like it's an evil character in a novel. Like they've got an official supervillain name now. The Saturday Sister Pisser. Or the Saturday Sister Shitter. Who knows? Let's find out. So the session started normally with the intake. I just get to know them, what they do for work, hobbies, etc. Basically anything to get to know how they move their bodies and what I can do to best relieve their pain. Saturday Sister worked from home and drove 6 hours to get to where we are. A drive she makes every other month. Her lower back was in incredible pain, understandable. I usually spend a lot of time stretching the back and start clients face down. This client wanted me to end by massaging her back, so I started with her face up. When I got to her ankles, she started coughing. I ran out to grab her some water and restarted once she was settled again. She started coughing again and goes, "Oops." I asked if she was okay and she said, "Once you get to a certain age, have a couple kids, you can't control your bladder." I tinkled a little. Okay, natural consequence of aging and motherhood, I don't mind it. I tell her that's okay, it happens. But that's not that accident I was talking about. What? I turn her over and start on her shoulders, moving down to her lower back, and then her hips and glutes. Wait, so as the client said, I tinkled a little, and the massage therapist was like, okay, and just rolled her over and continued massaging her body. Did she not think to offer if she needed to clean up first? There's a spot on the glutes that can provide a lot of relief for lower back and hip pain, but it can also release gas because it can be incredibly relaxing. This was something I spoke about with my friends literally the other day. Me, Wella, Reeve and Theo were in Dubai the other day. And I can't remember what we did, but we ended up getting a massage after, and we were talking about this like loads, just being like, how often do you think people fart? Because one of the cameramen was joining us and he had never had one before, and I think he must have been feeling some coming on and he was getting really nervous. And we were like, surely it happens all the time, right? I mean, one of the ones they were advertising was like, the client would be like lying down on the bed, all oiled up, and the massage therapist would be like holding onto these bars that looks like a ladder on the roof and like walking on their back. Like surely you're having a little toot or queef after that. Is that how that works? Either way, something's coming out surely. You're basically rolling someone's body like a froob. Of course a bit of yogurt's gonna squirt out in the end. Oh god, okay. This is getting disrespectful. This is a professional massage therapist. Alright, well I get to that spot on the left side and she farts. She sort of giggles and says, "Oops" again, and I reassure her that it's totally normal. It happens all the time. This person seems very, very comforting. I feel like that kind of thing would be so embarrassing. If they didn't say anything at all, you'd just be lying there just wanting the whole thing to be over. Your stress levels would rise. It'd be the exact opposite of the kind of like relaxing massage experience you'd want. But having the therapist just being like, "Don't worry, it happens, natural bodily functions," you'd be like, okay, I can kind of relax now. Assuming that thing ain't a stink bomb. I feel like the massage therapist saying, "Don't worry, that's normal," and then having to leave the room might not be totally reassuring. Alright, I get to the other side and she farts again. Or so I thought. Her head shoots up and she whispers, "Uh-oh. Oh no, 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 no." She looks at me and tells me she's had an accident, and then the smell hits me. Keeping in mind it's an old military building, the heat is on full blast and I can't control the temperature. My client just shit herself. That is awful. I hand her the baby wipes I keep in the room for clients to use after their massage to wipe extra gel off. I tell her it's okay, take time to clean up, and just put the used wipes in the now stained sheets. I mean, I feel like if this is your job, you'd probably expect it to happen, like, even if it's like a 1 in a million occurrence, it's gonna happen eventually, right? Like, there'd be some expectation that it might be an inevitability, which is probably the only thing softening the blow of this Stank hitting her. She finishes cleaning herself up and swears that it hasn't happened before. I smile and say, it's okay, shit happens. Thank God she laughed, and then I laughed. She left and I threw the entire sheet set away outside. Due to the heat on full blast and the lack of circulation, the smell wasn't going away. This is, I can taste it on my tongue.
Is that onion and ketchup?
I had to reschedule the rest of my clients for the day. I don't get paid for clients I don't see since I'm by appointment for commission instead of hourly. But it's a hell of a funny story now. She's a regular now and comes every time she visits town. I absolutely love her and it's been a little joke we laugh about whenever she comes in. Wow, I did not expect both of them to take it that easily. If I was the massage therapist, I'd be like, I can't risk that ever happening again. Like, I'm never accepting that appointment again. And if I was the client, I'd be like, I'm never showing my face in front of that massage therapist again. That is so embarrassing. Fair play to them both. That is very mature. Fair play. Quite a wholesome end for quite a nauseating story. All right, next. I bought a fleshlight as a married man. So I, a 27-year-old male, bought a fleshlight. It was the Violet Myers waifu version. What do half of these words mean? Right, now I'm trying to figure out if I don't know what those words actually mean or if my brain has just temporarily forgotten English. Violet Myers waifu. Oh, it's an influencer. Oh my goodness. So it's the fleshlight molded on her thang. A little silicone version of her coochie. Fair enough. Firstly, I'd like to say that, oh my God, that was an amazing experience for someone at 27. I finished 7 times in the space of 2 hours. And I was still turned on after, but I couldn't do it anymore. That is a biological phenomenon. I was partially disgusted in myself because me and my wife are going through a hard time at the moment and are separated, living together but separate bedrooms. Rough. And this dry spell caused my libido to just skyrocket. Yeah, evidently. How horny must you be to buy a Violet Myers waifu version of a fleshlight? That is just mental. I'm sure it's due to me eating clean and working out so much, but wow, I was amazed at how realistic it felt. Why do I feel like this is the fleshlight salesman? This isn't an embarrassing story. This is a marketing pitch. Because I am almost sold. As a first-time user of a fleshlight, I would definitely recommend it to a lot of guys who may be single or struggling in that department. But if you're in a relationship or married to a woman, please be careful. Yeah, I mean, I feel like that's the kind of thing you should tell your partner about before buying. Now on to the best bit. I got caught. My wife caught me and she caught me savaging the whole thing. And funnily enough, she told me that what I was doing was so hot that 30 seconds later, for the first time in over a month, we had some of the best sex we've had in so long. Wow, that is not the twist I was expecting. I was expecting her to come in and be like, listen, our relationship was already on the ropes. This is as lame as it gets. I'm leaving. I'm gonna pack my stuff. You can keep the bedding. The fleshlight has improved my sexual stamina so much more and I feel amazing, but it's also unnatural to be doing it to some piece of plastic that feels like the real life thing, so please don't get attached to it. This, I swear, is written to entice you to buy it. You know what's crazy? I actually owned one of these things for a very short period of time. I did a video with my friend Chip exploring the world's deepest hotel, which is in Wales, and it's in an old abandoned slate mine, and because we were doing a video, he decided to pull a few jokes on me. And at the start of the video, he gets out this bag and goes, oh, here's your like tin pots, here's your camera, here's your battery, all this kind of stuff. And then he goes, oh, and here's your flashlight. And obviously I open it up and it's, I think, the Riley Reid flashlight. And I was like, yeah, I cannot be caught with this thing on me. So I didn't even end up bringing it home. I think we just left it out in Wales. Obviously not in the great outdoors because it was silicone, but yeah, that thing did not make it back to England. Who knows where that thing is now? You know what? Yeah, lol. Whatever gets you off. Fleshlight shill. I'm just doing my part for the community. This is what I'm thinking. I'm glad I'm not the only person that thought that sounded like an indirect advertisement. It'd be like me writing an anonymous post to Reddit, just being like, oh, I subscribed to this YouTuber, Arthur Frederick. I hit the subscribe button and instantly was overcome with joy and happiness. And all of his videos make me laugh, except from the horror games, which are really scary. But it's the best decision I ever made. It's like, yeah, come on now, pal. And speaking of, if you've enjoyed today's video and you want to see more judging insane confessions, please feel free to subscribe down below. That way you won't miss the next one and your life will be filled with eternal happiness. Thanks for watching. Bye.